Hello everyone, Johnny Minder here, and today we are continuing to learn Japanese with Pokémon FireRed. Last time we left Pallet Town for good, Masara Town. Masara Town ni sayonara bye bye for real this time, as per the opening of the Pokémon anime in Japanese. We went back to Viridian City, of course. We actually encountered a Pokemon also on the road to Viridian City, as per the song in the English version of the anime. Caught it, a Pidgey. And then, yeah, we arrived at Viridian City, went around it. In particular, we checked out the shop, since there was more there. And we actually got stopped at the end by the drunken old man who taught us how to catch Pokemon, questionably so, since he didn't weaken the wild Pokemon. But yeah, so today we'll actually first for sure talk to the old man again, and then don't remember if it was daughter, I think daughter, his daughter. Check out the top that was blocked off by him of Viridian City, but the plan after that is going to the left for a certain reason, which we'll see. But yeah, without further ado, let's start. Yeah, we left Professor Oak's laboratory. We got the town map. This the episode before. Yeah, then actually this one last episode we checked out also at our home at the rest of Pallet Town, but yeah, there wasn't anything. Yeah, there we got at the end after the tutorial also the TGTV, as I think it's called in English. I am surprising considering the Japanese name Oshe Terebi. Yeah, we have these to check out first and foremost. Yeah, we saved here. Yeah, first let's talk to the old man after that. We didn't have time. He says a lot. Yeah. The first part is actually the same. The translation is simply it seems that I was drunk. And then he says, unsurprisingly, considering that atama ga itai. Yeah. First we have atama. I think the accent should be on the last syllable. Yes, it is. Of course, not counting potentially other, because some words have different accents. Some we have seen straight up depending on the usage. Other ones simply freely depending on the speaker. But yeah, potentially this is one of them. But yeah. I'd say remember it like this on the last syllable, since it's actually more convenient, as many body parts are accented either on the last syllable or unaccented. This one is a body part, as mentioned. It's the head, particular, subject particle ga, and then the adjective itai. which means painful, sore, accented, itai. And so yeah, literally here it says implied my head hurts by adapting it, literally is painful. So yeah, I have then by adapting it I have a headache. Yeah, usually in Japanese it's way simpler. We simply straight up say body part, subject particle, itai. There are other variants, but this is the fundamental structure. Suspension dots. First it says Tokini. And yeah, first we have Toki on its own accent on the last syllable. So actually it should be heard in this case. On its own means a time, occasion, time, moment, extension, occasion, case. Also used simply to make in the structure is in Japanese relative clause plus Toki. In practice, then in English we can translate it as when, and then the relative clause. What would is the relative clause in Japanese when doing the action of the verb and so on. When you do. Here though we have also the particle ni. So yeah, technically at a specific moment, and that's typical for typical particle to use with Toki. But here it's used on its own. So yeah, it's actually used either technically as a conjunction. By the way, incidentally, the other usage is even more it's clearer, since it can mean sometimes, as in on occasion. Yeah, from occasion, which would consider one of the translations of Toki, and then yeah, the particle on in English, then the ni. Of course, it can actually be the usual meaning of the particle ni. So yeah, at precisely at the time. Yeah, in this case, I suspect either the first by the way or sometimes on occasion. We'll see with the rest. And then it says Pokémon Zukan wa Umatoru kana. First we have the usual Pokémon Zukan Pokédex. We have the topic particle wa written as a ha. So as for the Pokédex. And then we have this Umatoru which technically it should, based on this form, it should be, I guess, from Umaru. We check its accent. It means to be buried. Its fundamental meaning to be covered also. Unaccented, okay. By extension, can also be to overflow, to be crowded, to be filled, unsurprisingly. Yeah, also to be filled of a blank vacancy schedule. Unless it's another, let's think it with this form, let's think it the other way around, which is what I actually started doing to guess this. The to after it is a contraction, but it comes from the te form. And to have a te form of this kind with a double consonant te, it has to be from a U verb with ru, u, or tsu. But yeah, umatsu doesn't exist. Umau doesn't either. That technically can be found uma and then another u, but of another part, not on as the ending of the word. So yeah, it has to be umaru. Umaru, as mentioned. We'll see in which meaning exactly. Also with the following part. Yeah, as mentioned, the verb, the form of the verb, in this case in ru, we change the u into e to make the conjugative form umari te, but then the ifel umar te, difficult to pronounce, so that's why it becomes double consonant te. After it, we have oru. We had oru. Oru on its own to be assumed to exist. Of anime things, it's actually the humble form of iru. Same meaning for people and animals on its own. After that, the form of a verb, it becomes an auxiliary with the meaning continuing action or state. Yeah, Teoru then gets contracted into Toru, pretty easy. Again, the meaning isn't completely clear from here. Clearly not literally to be buried, covered. I'd say field, even though it's weird considering the context here. So yeah, we'll actually see what he says after. Last but not least, though, we have kana, again, this compound final sentence particle, ka, the interrogative particle on its own, the simple one, to make simple questions. Not the usual final sentence particle with so many meanings, but kana combined means I wonder. Can also be then should I, is it, and so yeah, and also this meaning I wish that, I hope that, with a negative verb, as in the sense I wish, I hope that, in the sense that if only, something more akin to if only in a sense, if only the person, someone would do the action of the verb. But we see that when it comes up, usually simply I wonder, a more simple I wonder, or should I, is it. Yeah, let's see what he says after. Hajime no uchi wa Pokémon no yowarasete kara yeah, first he says here hajime, which comes from the verb hajimeru. We've seen it before. I don't remember if I think also in this series unaccented to start to begin the transitive verb. Unaccented. We can drop the ru verb is an verb, so yeah, we can drop the ru to make the continuative form. And so the corresponding noun. I suspect though that no, okay, perfect. The continuative form used as the corresponding noun follows the rule. I was thinking of another word clearly still derived from it, which changes the accent, but never mind that. So yeah, beginning, start, off, because we have the possessive particle, or simply the possessive particle to connect it anyway to the following noun, which is uchi. We have seen it can, depending on the kanji, when written with kanji, it can have the meaning, the fundamental one, which is inside, within, then by extension, while. And yeah, typical here, while something, during. And so yeah, can also typically found, for example, with a structure like this one. The other meaning we have seen, one's home or family and so on. Clearly still the same strictly Japanese term, because yeah, from inside then you get those meanings by extension. But yeah, then we have the topic particle wa. We have Pokémon. The object particle o written as one, pronounced as such in careful speech and also singing. And then we have yowarasete kara, which comes from the verb yowaru, which means to weaken, to grow weak. Accented, so yowaru. I think we have found it at least once before in this series. Verb colon verb, so we can change the u into a and then add se ru. Here the ru can be seen because of further conjugation to make the causative form. And yeah, this is the typical the structure used nowadays for the causative form in contemporary Japanese. And so yeah, in practice then, to make someone, something weak, and so yeah, technically to weaken, but the transitive form of the verb. I wonder if I find it straight up in the dictionary, considering that I don't remember if that I've checked before. Yowara, nope, can't find it, but yeah, it's pretty clear. It's simply the causative form. Was curious if it was mentioned or straight up. But yeah, causative forms are ru verbs, some verbs, so we can drop the ru to make the continuative form and then simply attach the te to make the te form. The form in this case is required because then we have kara. Kara in this case is used with the te form of a verb to make the meaning after. Kara usually we have seen on its own as a particle can be used for the meaning from, because, that one of course with verbs, but yeah, in our case here after, since after the form of a verb. And yeah, so far it says as for during the beginning, I think in this case in the sense of when you are technically a beginner yourself, Even though no, that isn't absolutely the case. If I think he's about to say what he's saying, based also on the second part, because that it says after weakening, making weak a Pokemon, yeah, after that it says Toru no ga Kotsujazo. Toru to take. Funny enough, we've seen it also in Pokemon Snap as to take, specifically photographs with a technically different kanji. In that case would be usually, but yeah, here is to take more in general. Of course, in the case of Pokemon, technically is to catch. Accented verb. Verb, colon verb, but yeah, doesn't mean. Here it's simply in its dictionary form, terminal form. Because after it we have no thing, as in fact also the nominalizer of verbs, like we can see here, to catch, or catching we could say. Subject particle ga. Yeah, you can see why. First we make it that we nominalize it to then add the subject particle. In some expressions, we have seen it actually use the verb as is, but yeah, no. Nowadays, actually, you should follow this structure. After that, it says kotsu. Kotsu means trick. It's technically an extended meaning because kotsu uses the kanji for skeleton, bone. Its Chinese reading, in particular, also most likely to distinguish between the two, all because of its origin. But yeah, kotsu, accented on the last syllable on its own. Funny enough, like it's the strict Japanese reading hone. But yeah, that one is used for bone as an actual bone. Also some extended meanings, but yeah, this one, kotsu, usually actually written in kana according to the dictionary. That's the case. Usually it's found, as you can see here, with katakana specifically. But yeah, by extension from that bone, technically also can be skeleton, by more bone technically. Knack, skill, trick, secret, know-how, the ropes, hang. Cioè, technically, I'd say trick or secret or know-how. Yeah, technically from the meaning bone, skeleton, as in what's inside, as in the trick in this case. But yeah, then the copula, because this is an old man, he uses the copula za instead of the usual da. And then, last but not least, final sentence particle zo, method or language. As force, I'd say simply emphasis, as we've seen in practice. Yeah, so he's saying that as for during the beginning, that's not the case at all. Catching Pokemon after weakening them, say plural, so to say it in general, is the trick, or however you want to translate it based from that whole list of similar translations. But yeah, so yeah, no, not just at the beginning. That's always the trick, unlike what he did. But yeah. So yeah, actually, he had only that to say. Let's see what she has to say. Tokidoki, Nibishiti made, okaimono ni ikimasu kedo. And then it continues. First we have Tokidoki. Funny enough, yeah, it's the doubling of Toki. Notice that the second Toki gets voiced, the To, and so we have the duck 10 becomes Doki. Technically, doubling the word is one of the ways to make the plural, but in this case, it's more like from time to time. So yeah, actually, sometimes, occasionally, at times, even better. You can see it even better with at times. Technically, that the origin is clearly still the plural of the word. The accent of Tokidoki is unaccented, okay. Then we have Nibishiti, the Japanese name of funny enough, now it's coming to mind. Pewter City, yeah. Only the Italian name was coming to mind. And funny enough, I'd like to mention, I think I mentioned it when we talked about Pallet Town. The names of these cities of Kanto in Italian are all based on the colors that you see in the towns when playing them with colors. The Game Boy. But yeah, we check the origin of this name when we actually get to Pewter City, and also its location compared to in relation to the real world, and so on. But yeah, for now, let's simply keep in mind that it's Pewter City. Then she says there's the particle made up to, yeah, in this case, physically, as in the location. Can also be used in a temporal meaning until. And then she says okaimono. We have seen it maybe even last time. It's a compound noun, literally from kau to buy, verb, code verb. So yeah, we can change the into it to make the conjugative form the corresponding noun. Here also use the straight up to make this compound noun with mono, thing as in object. We've even studied its kanji. Also we have the honorific prefix here, okaimono, but it doesn't change. Well, potentially it could change the accent as we have seen, but in this case, if I recall correctly, kaimono is already an accent, yes, and yes, I think also okaimono then. But yeah, literally, things to buy, we could say. So yeah, actually, shopping or straight up can be things bought, technically, cioè purchased goods. Oh yeah, more often than not you see it as shopping. Oh yeah, like here we have the particle ni after it. To. In this case, actually, to do, we could say an implied verb suru. In this case would be in its continuative form, which is a she. Suru is completely irregular. Because kaimono a noun, but we can make the corresponding verb by adding suru as usual. But more often than not, you find it straight up like this. Then the particle need to, as in order to, when there is a following verb of movement. In our case, ikimasu, from iku, to go, unaccented. We change the u into i to make the continuative form, and then to attach the mas, the auxiliary, to make the polite form of the verb. Yeah, so she's saying, well, at the end we have then kedo, but, however, this one usually found in more in casual speech. In plain speech I would say, but honestly more casual in general. And yeah, similar to ga, but yeah. Yeah, the translation is simply so far. Sometimes I go to do shopping to up to Viridian City. Sorry, Viridian City. We are in Viridian City. Pewter City. Oh yeah. Okay, actually, that kedo at the end was similar than well, it's similar in to ga, also in the usage, which you have seen that technically that was more like an introductory phrase. And then we have the rest. So then you can technically then translate it more like an end in certain cases. But yeah, after that she says, Toki wa no mori te michi ga magari kunetteru no yo. Ah yeah, first we have Toki wa from Tokiwashi, which we have seen is the name of Viridian City. Possessive particle no. Then we have mori, forest. And so yeah, it's Viridian Forest. Mori on its own unaccented. Then we have the particle te, a casual quoting particle. The usual one would be to. In this case, actually, most likely, actually, toyu no wa as a contraction. Here, more than defining the term, technically would be as for what's technically what's called the place that's called Viridian Forest. Then we have Michi, road. In the case of technical Pokemon games, also set up route or simply way. Oh yeah, the fundamental meaning road, unaccented, Michi. Yes, it is. But yeah, here simply the path, the road, more simply. Subject particle ga. And then we have, I suspect it's actually intended to be a compound verb here, magari kuneteru. I look, let's see if it's present as is in the dictionary. I feel like it should, and it is. Yeah, first it comes from the verb magaru, actually an accent magaru, to bend, to curve. By extension then also to turn, so actually quite important, especially in that meaning, but yeah, more in general would be to bend, to curve. U verb colon verb, so we can change the U into E to make the conjugative form. Here required to attach then the second verb part of the compound. Kuneru. Kuneru, accented, means to bend, specifically this one technically loosely back and forth, and so to wriggle, or then by extension to be crooked. But yeah, so magari kuneru is actually also luckily accented like kuneru on its own. To bend many times, to turn and twist, to zigzag. And yeah, because especially of that meaning of the bend loosely back and forth of kuneru. Yeah, combined before it with another verb which means to bend. Both kuneru and magari kuneru are U verbs, Godan verbs, despite ending in eru. Because yeah, the verbs end in eru and iru usually are ru verbs, instant verbs, but there are some which are actually u verbs, Godan verbs. And so yeah, you have unfortunately to remember that that's the case. Here it's clear, because yeah, to make the te form, we don't simply drop the ru and add te, as we have seen for verbs, instant verbs. We have to follow the rules, it's in ru, so it becomes double consonant te. After it we have ru, so actually the verb iru, so again continuing action or state, the e drops as a contraction. Last but not least, we have this no yo, technically a compound well, the no, we could simply keep it, it actually is the nominalizer for verbs, we have already seen things as in fact. Then the yo, final sentence particle, you know. Yeah, because in this case she's explaining to us that the certainty, she's explaining to us how it is the road to of Viridian Forest. Yeah, so the translation is as for, again, technically what's called Viridian Forest, its implied road, path, zigzags, turns and twists, however you want to translate that. Yeah, in English we have to keep it simply with a simple verb. In Japanese we use teiru. In this case, a state, I'd say, more than continuing action, of course. And then, yeah, you know at the end. Okay. Pretty easy there. And we can get that. Okay, this we have this sign up here. Okay. And yeah, because up here then we have route 2. So I quickly show there. But yeah, this is technical part still of the city, so let's check it. We have the usual Otokuna Keiji ban. Useful, simply we could say. Good use would be good use sign. Well, more specifically bulletin board or display board, notice board. And then it's the usual signs with some tips. This one says Tonikaku, Pokémon no Tsukamete, Don Fuyaso. First and foremost, we have this adverb Tonikaku. Pretty useful, pretty used. Because yeah, it means anyway, more as in anyhow, at any rate, even better. Actually, the accent is on the to, on the first mora. This is technically, there's also the term Tomokaku. Wanted to mention it incidentally. With the same meaning. That one, Tomokaku, is usually more formal. Let's say the most common one is this one. Then we have Pokemon again, the observed particle O. Tsukamaete, the usual verb tsukamaeru, to catch, typical of Pokemon. To capture, and so on. This one we can see verb is an verb, so yeah, we can drop the ru to make the continuative form, and add te to make the form. Here I'd say again the usual meanings of the form on its own, do the action of the verb and the rest of the sentence. By doing the action of the verb, both could work honestly here. Then we have Don. I think we have seen it in this very series. It technically comes from, it's an onomatopoeia, unsurprising considering the sound. Fundamentally would be the onomatopoeia of a drumming noise or similar noises, beating, pounding, banging, booming, stamping. Yeah, by the way, for example, also used for quite a strong knocking at the door. But yeah, here the fundamental one would be technically drumming, accented on the first more as usual for these onomatopoeias. By extension, it becomes rapidly, quickly, steadily, and also continuously, one after the other in succession. And yeah, this is our case, last meaning. Because then we have the verb fuyasu. I think we have seen actually so far in-game fueru, the intransitive form of the verb. This is the transitive one. We finally get to see it straight up in-game. Notice one in Eru, the other one in Yasu, most likely because the one in Eru was actually originally in Yeru, but then that changed and only the one in A remained Ya. But yeah, Eru, the other one in Yasu. The one in Yasu actually, Asu, most likely a classical form of the causative. Yeah. Cioè, technically, to make something increase, and then simply to increase U verb and verb, so yeah, we can change the U into O, and then add U, so actually make a long O volitional form of the verb. Here simply its meaning let's, as in encouraging, of course. So yeah, it says here, anyway, at any rate, increase continuously or steady, or in the sense straight up steadily also, your, you could say, implied Pokemon, by catching them, or catch Pokemon and steadily or continuously increase them. And then it says, yeah, this we can actually send up. Torena to no shobu mo takusan motteru to yuri. First we have Torena, trainer from English, of course. We've seen that the accent should be the same. To, here the particle with, straight up as with someone, with trainers, in this case plural, clearly, as we see why in a second. With then the possessive particle no, so actually to attach that Torena to with trainers to the following noun, which is shobu. We have seen it in this series, literally means winning or losing, victory or defeat, based on the two kanji. Accent on the first mora, it's a Chinese compound, and so yeah, it's the second most common accent for those. By extension, it becomes match, contest, and so on. In the case of Pokemon games, Pokemon battles. Then we have the inclusive particle mo, also even. So yeah, also battles with trainers, but in Japanese we have we need the no in the middle to attach it, the Torena to the noun shobu. And then we have takusan. Takusan, as we have seen, and this is actually one of the words I mentioned that actually have two different accents depending on their usage. When used, originally would be technically a noun, and can be used as a noun with the possessive particle no to make in practice an adjective. A lot, lots. But when used here straight up as an adverb, as we can see here, because there's the following verb, it becomes an accented takusan. Verb, which is motteru, from motsu, to hold, technically in one's hand, and so then by extension to possess, to have. Here, of course, not physically, but still the meaning is the same. Accented motsu. And yeah, verb and verb, we have to follow the rules to make the form. It's in su, so again change the u into i. Moti, originally there weren't the changes. Motite, but then they fell. Motte, yeah, so doubling of the following consonant. Okay, again, the form in this case required because then we had iru. Here, simply iru because of the contraction. Then we have to, in this case, a conjunction, because it's one of the ways to make the conditional form in Japanese. If when, so actually also with a temporal meaning, similar to English. This one is the closest to the zero conditional. Not always, of course, but technically, when it's usually if or when you do the action of the verb, then something inevitably happens. In this case, we have Yuri. A Chinese compound. Accented on the first more, so also another one of those. An adjective, usually in this case, literally uses the kanji of to have or to better to exist. It would be the kanji of aru, even nowadays we don't write it with it usually. To have, and then this ri, which means advantage, benefit, profit, interest, and so advantageous, favorable. We can say straight up profitable also. So here it says simply if you hold, or better, if you have, then by extension, if you possess also a lot, taxan, of matches with trainers, it's advantageous, favorable, profitable. In this case, better in the first meaning, simply advantageous, favorable. Not, although technically in the case of Pokemon games, especially the fights here against other trainers are actually also profitable, because you also win money. But so the sign said that. The only part left here. Actually, when I went it immediately worked like that. I didn't turn up on my own. It says, Toki wa jimu no doa ni wa kagi ga kakatte ita. And first we have Toki wa, again, name of the city. Jimu, gym from English. The accent is the same. We have seen it in this city, but not because of the sign there. Of course, we hadn't access to it. It was in the notes of the girl at the trainer school, if I recall correctly, by accented. Was this particle? No. Doa, door from English. Accented also, like in English. Then we have the particle ni, to. We see technically as in applied to. Topic particle wa. So, as for to the door of the Viridian gym. Then we have the term kagi, key, but technically also lock. Kagi, accent on the last syllable, last more. So on the gi, kagi. And technically in our case here would be the lock, because after it we have the subject particle ga, and then the verb kakatte, kakaru, you might remember that we have seen kakeru, the transitive verb, to hang, and several extended meanings. Kakaru, still to hang, the intransitive form of the verb. Notice again, one in the transitive in eru, the intransitive in aru, the intransitive in aru most likely is actually a classical form of the passive. Is hanged. And also lucky, usually in several extended meanings instead of literally. But its most common meaning nowadays is actually, by extension, to take a resource, time, or money, for example. In our case, I wonder if it's straight up mentioned here. Ah, yes, it's one of the many meanings mentioned. When used with kagi, it means to be fastened, cioè to be locked. And yeah, so actually you can see that in this case technically kagi would be lock, not key. Regardless, verb, code and verb, so yeah, it's one in ru, so again it becomes double consonant te, and then we have ita, so again te ru, continuing action or state, in this case state. Iru, ru verb is done verb, so we can drop the ru to make the continuative form and then add ta, the form which is used for the past form of the verb in plain speech. Cioè, it says here, as for the door of the Viridian gym, it has been locked, it has been fastened with a lock. We can simply say it has been locked. This expression straight up, kagiga kakaru. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it actually sends you there like that. So yeah, we actually want to come from this side here. Yeah, here the sign simply says Tokiwa Pokémon Gym. Pretty easy. Let's talk to this old man here quickly. Who says Itsu kitemo kono Pokémon Gym wa shimattoru. First we have Itsu. On its own would be the interrogative pronoun when. Here actually it changes because of the following verb and form of the verb. First we have kuru, to come. Another verb completely irregular like suru, so we have to remember that its continuative form is ki, and then we attach the te form, the te to make the te form. So yeah, te, the e is barely heard at all, so yeah, the accent then moves also on the te usually. The form required because then we had the inclusive particle mo, also even. Even, and so can be even though, or more, better, usually more often than not, no matter if, and you do the action of the verb. In this case, actually, the mo, it's technically related to the itsu at the start, because yeah, in this case, instead of being just a simple when, it becomes no matter when one comes, we could say, or I come, here implied, of course. Then we have kono. part of the Kosovo series, close to both the speaker and the listener. So far from the speaker, close to the listener, far from both. Do the interrogative, Kosovo usually an accent, do accent on do itself. With the no, we make the demonstrative adjective, these or these. Here, these, singular, because these Pokémon gym. Topic particle wa. And then the verb shimatoru, shimaru, which means to be closed, to be shut. Again, actually, notice that there's also the verb shimeru, to close, to shut, accented both shimaru and shimeru. Yeah, again, transitive in eru, intransitive in aru. Yeah, the intransitive is actually a classical passive form. So yeah, literally to be closed. So yeah, literally in this case, just like in the translation. Verb and verb in ru again. So yeah, we had double consonant te to make the form, and then oru contracted toru. Yeah, continuing action or state. Here I'd say technically in translation simply is closed simply by adapting it by technically, because it's in this continuing state technically. But yeah, so the translation, no matter when I come. As for this Pokemon gym, it's it has been closed, is closed. And then it says, Ittai donna yatsu ga rida o shitorunjaro ka. First and foremost, we have this Ittai. Literally, it's a Chinese compound, which means one body. Yeah, Tai again, the one for body. But yeah, usually, so yeah, literally would be one body, then one object, one unit, one group, one mass. More often than not, nowadays actually used as an adverb, which by extension means what the heck, why in the world, who on earth, and so on. And yeah, before an interrogative, like in this case, as we'll see in a second, again, it's used for to make an emphatic question. Yeah, the interrogative is donna, dono, yona, contracted. So yeah, literally, dono, which, yo, here kind, na adjective, dono, yona, and then contracted into donna. The accent is on the do. Still, again, part of the Kosovo series and with do, so the usual accent for that. What kind of yatsu? A noun, which means fellow, guy, chap. And yeah, in this case, like we keep that meaning. What kind of fellow? Then we have the subject particle ga. Rida. Yeah, from English, leader. The accent should be the same, but we'll check. I don't remember if we have straight ups. I think we might have seen it for gym leader. Yeah, luckily the accent like in English. So on the first mora, rida, on the ri. object particle O. Then we have Shitoru, again from Suru to do. In this case, technically, do as in has that role, does the job, we could say also. Again, the form shite, because the continuative form of Suru is she, and then again Teoru, continuing action or state. Then we have N, the contracted form of No. Again, in this case, the nominalize for verbs. And then last but not least, we have Jaro. Actually, here contracted because usually would have a longer vowel than of the O. Jaro, Daro. Here, Ja, because of, it's an old man speaking. Daro is the dubitative, conjectural form of the copula. It seems, I wonder, in our case. In other contexts, it can also be straight up actually right, don't you agree? So actually not conjectural or dubitative, however you want to call it, but actually used to the person is actually quite sure and wants the other person to agree with them. So right, don't you agree, and so on. It changes also, by the way, the accent, as already mentioned, depending on the usage of those. But yeah, here actually simply the usual, the fundamental actually, conjectural, so I wonder. Last but not least, the interrogative particle ka. So it says simply, I wonder what kind emphatic, as mentioned with that itai. By the way, I don't think I mentioned itai unaccented by Chinese compound, so unsurprising. What kind of fellow is, adapting it in English, is the leader? What kind of fellow has the role, does the job of the leader, to keep it technically even more closer. Oh yeah, so we actually have checked everything here. So yeah, we can then go here. Yeah, we'll continue here. We'll take this route here. But yeah, we'll take a break as usual. Around 5 minutes, most likely less, 2 or 3. So I see you then. And we are back. Yeah, so we can continue. And yeah, actually, go here, as it showed on the top left, Niju, Niban, Doro. And yeah, we have already seen the structure. We have the number 22 in this case is the only difference. In Japanese, as mentioned, Nijuni. So yeah, 2 tens plus 2. As for its accent on its own of Nijuni. As we have seen, no, okay, yeah, there's a difference because Niju is accented on its own on the ni. And actually, apparently, you keep the accent of that first and foremost. Or at most you could technically separate. There are variants, for example, for Niju Roku 26, one that keeps only the accent of Niju, the other one Niju, slight pause, Roku, so keeping the accent of both numbers. Anyway, in our case, here we have then ban, so we only follow the rules of ban with the number 2, because yeah, we of course keep in mind then only the final number, so the 2. With ban, like it's one of those that is simply accented before ban itself, so yeah, Niju Niban should be. On the ni at the end before the ban. And then again Doro, which we have already seen, the term used here in Pokemon games for routes in Japanese. Chinese compound. This one accented on the first mora. And yeah, would be actually more road or highway. Road in general better in this case, of course. But yeah, I wanted to quickly mention also its location in relation to the real world. Or actually, maybe it's better to keep that for... yeah, it makes more sense to keep it for the future. There's a reason for that. But yeah, for now we'll simply tackle it. We have to go up here. Okay. Yeah, I've come here because if you come here now, not later in the game, you get to see to meet the rival here, Green in our case, and he says, notice that we have technically first the A, then the long vowel mark, so yeah, along A, and then there's small su, so actually then there's an abrupt end. Technically, more technically, I haven't mentioned it yet. The small su becomes a glottal stop. Oh yeah. In practice, then you can simply say also as an abrupt end. So yeah, technically first and then it stops like that. Yeah. So yeah, like an in English, quite an emphatic one. Red, then one name Reddo. And then it says Pokemon Rigu ni Iku no Kana. Sorry, Iku no Ka. And yeah, first we have Pokemon League. Yeah, Pokemon League. Wanted to check quickly again the accent of a league, but I think it's the same as in English. Again, we have seen it because of that part in the trainer school. Yes, it is. Particle ni, so in this case, to. And yeah, because after it we have the verb iku, to go. Then we have the particle, we have no. So technically nominalizer. Here I suspect, as in technically, is it literally, but yeah, still related to the expression we have seen no da, it is that, and so on. But here after the no we have actually the interrogative particle ka. So yeah, as in is it that you are going, we have to adapt it in English, but yeah, in Japanese we use the simple, the verb in its simple, a simple present, or potentially that used then for a simple future. In English it makes more sense to adapt it. Are you going to the Pokemon League? And then it says Yametoke. From Yameru, we've studied its kanji. Stop, as in an activity. Cease can also be that by extension and to cancel, to abandon, to refrain. Oh yeah, here Yameru, by the way, accented again. Through verbs and verbs, so we can drop the root, make the conjugative form, to then add te. Here we have then oku on its own to put to place, unaccented. Technically, we have seen that the te oku form is do an action for and leave it aside figuratively for future usage, or to put, to keep actually, to keep something in a certain state. But yeah, we have these expressions, so technically leave it, so yeah, as in simply stop it. Yeah, by the way, then it's contracted te oku, toku, oku verb and verb, so we can then change the u into a to make the imperative form in plain speech. So stop it. Then it says omae dose bazi motene ro. First we have the usual omae. Second person singular pronoun you. Or formally honorific, as can be seen from the honorific prefix o. Nowadays actually very informal, omae unaccented. Then we have this dose. It's an adverb. Technically again from do. In what, how, in what way. So then how. With this additional se. That se is actually an abbreviation of an expression, most likely which uses suru, which would be no matter what you do. We see it better technically nowadays more often found as in ni seyo, but we'll see that again when the time comes. But yeah, keep in mind for now simply that that se is the verb suru. Yeah, here literally would be technically no matter how literally, better in English, no matter what you do, and then he says badge from English. The accent should be the same as in English. Oh yeah, accent on the ba. No particle notice, but yeah, it's simply implied. And then we have motene from motsu again, to hold, as in possess. The form of the verb again. And then actually ne, which is nai, the adjective which means non-existent, also used for the negative form of verbs in plain speech, verbs and also adjectives and so on. And so actually it would be motte I na I. The I drops again for the usual contraction. Nai gets contracted into ne. But yeah, by the way, in I, because iru, verb is some verb, we drop the ru. Only the I remains, but in this case it's the irrealis, not yet state. You could say simply nowadays negative form of the verb. And yeah, to attach nai. So yeah, again, continuing action or state in the negative though. And then we have daro here actually, as in that meaning we mentioned, right? The accent should be technically. Oh yeah, let's ignore it for now. Notice that, by the way, daro again shortened here. But yeah. So the translation is you don't have badges anyway, right? And then he says, Mihari no ossan ga toshite kurenee yo. And yeah, first we have this Mihari. Which comes from a compound verb. Mi is from miru, to see, to look at, to watch. To verb is some verb, so we can drop the ru to make the continuative form. In this case, we attach the second verb part of the compound, haru. Haru on its own, unaccented, means to stick, to paste, to affix. Several extended meanings, but yeah, the fundamental one would be can also then be to stretch, to spread. It depends also on the kanji technically. Yeah. So miharu, unaccented, so luckily like haru on its own, actually means to stand watch. So yeah, notice that the meaning of haru, technically to stick, in this case figure as in stay in a place, and watch. Cioè, in this case, so to stand watch, to stand guard, to look out, but yeah, better to stand watch would be the fundamental meaning in Japanese. Yeah, so by changing then the u into i, because haru is a verb con a verb, and also miharu, we change the u into i to make the continuative form, and so the corresponding noun. And yeah, so actually watch, as in guard, lookout, surveillance, watchman, sentinel. Oh yeah, then we have the yeah, here actually better, and we keep it like that technically. We have the possessive particle no to attach it to the following noun, which is osan. Comes from oji-san, which means uncle, unaccented. Again, as usual, uncle, the one you would use for someone else's uncle. Your uncle, when it's the familiar term used for when referring to your uncle, like we've seen for oji-san with the longer vowel for grandfather, grandpa. And then, like, or like that term, we can also use it for an old man, well, actually, more correctly would be a middle-aged man, a mister, a generic mister. Here, actually, contracted into os from oji-san, it becomes osan. And yeah, of course, not respectful with this contraction. In fact, technically it's at the very least familiar language, but also straight up derogatory. Oh yeah, so it comes from that. Subject particle ga. And then we have toshite from tosu. Tosu, in this case, it has the meaning to accent, by the way, and in this case it's accented on the to, so on the third to last mora, also in its dictionary terminal form, because of course the second o is actually considered along the lengthening of the first one, so long to. So that's the reason why. I think we might have seen before that intransitive form of the verb toru, with the meaning to pass through, to go by, to go past, and so on, to pass through. I guess so. This one technically to let pass. I noticed that, yeah, again, also in the translation in this case, most likely actually related to causative verbs. Yeah, that's su, technically most likely from suru, but still so actually related to causative forms, as we see better. But yeah, verb and verb, so we can change the u into i to make the continuative form, and then simply attach that. And then we have the form of the verb required, because then we had kurene from kureru, one of the verbs of giving. This one we have seen in this very series, to give, as in the receiver is the speaker or someone close to the speaker. So yeah, someone else gives to the speaker or someone close to the speaker. kureru, verb is a verb. We can see we drop the ru to make the idealis not yet state negative form of the verb, and yeah, again to add nai still in its ne form here. And then last but not least the final sentence particle yo. Yeah, the form of the verb. When we use verbs of giving after the form of a verb, it has the meaning to do the favor of doing the action of the verb in te. So yeah, here is saying literally the old man, actually middle man, guard doesn't let me pass, doesn't do me the favor of letting me pass, doesn't let me pass. Well, or actually, it not me specifically necessarily, in general, doesn't let people pass. Of course, if they don't have all the badges. After that, it says suspension dots. Sore yori sa. First we have sore, that, the demonstrative pronoun in this case. Yori can have some different meanings. The most common one actually it would be then when used in comparisons. It can also be used from with the meaning from in other contexts. But yeah, technically in this case, by extension from those meanings, it can also mean other than, so yeah, literally other than that, except apart from that, other than that, and so on. Actually used so as a conjunction here, leaving that aside. Then we have this sa again. I'd say again the usual meaning come now. Usually at the start of the sentence, but here at the end, but yeah, still related to what it says after. It says, Omae no Pokémon skoshi wa tsuyoku natta ka yo. Actually, that isn't the case, so I'm not sure how it will go. He's saying here, Omae, again, you, with the possessive particle, so actually your Pokémon. Skoshi, a little. Accent on the ko. The u of is barely heard if at all because it's between upper's consonants. Topic particle. Tsuyoku from tsuyoi, strong. We drop the e and add the ku to make the adverbial form or continuative form. We could consider it. The accent moves from the second to last more to the third to last. Tsuyoku on the tsu. Here required because then we have the verb naru to become, and then whatever that verb in the adverbial form said. Naru verb godan verb, so it becomes again double consonant for the ta form. Interrogative particle ka, and then yo at the end. Technically here, as in a sentence, in a question. So yeah, maybe better as a hey technically, but yeah, he's saying, he's asking us, your Pokemon have become a little strong air. So yeah, actually we have a comparative and yeah, it doesn't change the adjective in Japanese. Have become stronger literally, but yeah, as in stronger technically. Oh yeah, so actually a rival battle starts. Oh yeah, the usual structure. Rival green challenge you to a match. Yeah, we have already seen this structure anyway, so let's not waste the time. Oh yeah, he's sending out a PG, a pretty strong one actually. Yeah, I have a feeling this won't go well. Okay, we have that. Can quickly show it. Okay, this. The opponent PG's item no Poppo no. Oh yeah, what interests us here is the attack Sunakake from Suna. I wonder if I straight up find it as is in the dictionary. I know. I can't, of course, because yeah, it's but the meaning is clear. Yeah, it comes from Suna, sand. The accent should be on the unaccented, yeah. And then Kake from Kakeru, already mentioned, to hang, technically, the transitive form of the verb hang up. By extension, to put on, and so in this case to cover, is also used, by the way, to put on glasses and so on, but yeah, in our cases, as in throwing better would be than by extension, but even though it isn't strictly like that. And again, Kakeru, verb is and verb, so we can drop the root to make the contributive form the corresponding noun, technically. And so here, technically, throwing, by adapting it, spreading, sand. So yeah, that's the name of, I think it's sand attacks simply in English. Oh yeah, actually, this is quite important. It's the first time we have seen it. Well, the structure is the usual one we've seen for other statuses, technically. Pokémon, possessive particle no, something, that's what changes here. Subject particle ga, and then Sagata, so as in from Sagaru to decrease, to go down, even more, even better, considering the verb. Verb and verb, which we have to follow the rules. It's in rules, so it becomes double consonant to make the form and so past form of the verb. The new term is Meichu Ritsu. I kind of have doubt I'll find it as is. Maybe I actually find it, but let's see. Okay, yeah, actually it's straight up used. We check the accent with the dictionary, the physical dictionary, in a second. Meichu on its own means is unaccented, is a Chinese compound. Hit, technically direct hit, or more in general, hitting the mark. With this suffix, which is ritsu, accented on its own on the re. But usually, yeah, used as a suffix because it means rate, ratio, proportion, percentage, technically, so yeah, rate. And yeah, so it's used for several kinds of rates. In our case, with that, literally would be rate of hitting the mark, so yeah, actually accuracy rate. Let's see the accent when we add ritsu as a suffix. Ritsu. Okay, there it is. Before it, pretty easy, so Meichuritsu. Of course, in this case, it can stay on the U, which is the longer vowel of the chu, so it stays on the chu itself. Meichuritsu. Yeah, so accuracy rate. Okay, let's go back to the game, and unfortunately, risking quite a lot here with this pretty strong PG. Got even a hit there. I'll actually try doing it like this. I switch. We check that another time. Actually, try doing this. I have serious doubts this will work. Okay, luckily we avoided the hit there. I'm kind of tempted to heal our PG, but at the same time it's kind of risky. Critical hit. Let's send. Okay, actually, let's. Let's check these since it has happened. That we have already seen before. On this screen, we have on the bottom left, Pokémon no Erande Kudasai. Pokémon object particle Erande from Erabu, to choose, to select, to pick out, accented. The form, yeah, it's verb colon verb, it's in bu, so it becomes becomes te. Because again we changed the u into i, erabi, te, the e file, so only the b remained, but it was actually voice consonants were prenasalized in Japanese, in classical Japanese. So yeah, mb. So actually, the nasal remained, changed into voiced, caused the voicing, and so actually also prenasalization of the te. And so yeah, nde. Yeah, that's why we write it like that nowadays. The form required because then we had kudasai, again verb of giving, from kudasaru, this one, honorific, respectful language, from top to bottom, so superior to an inferior. It's one of those honorific verbs that instead of simply changing the u into i, become simply i, because yeah, change the u into i, kudasari, but then the r fell, so only the i remains. Continuative form required because implied there's a masse, so actually the imperative form of mass, so imperative in polite speech. And so yeah, this kudasai actually then simply used as imperative in polite speech, and yeah, please. Please choose a Pokemon. On the bottom right, we simply have Modoru to return, to go back. We have seen it before. To go back to the previous screen. Didn't want to press that. And then we have here these options. Well, on the bottom left it says Fushigi-dane, the name of our Pokemon, object particle O. Dosuru, literally how will you do better in English. What will you do with Bulbasaur? And then we have the options. Tatakawaseru, from Tatakau to fight. Verb colon verb, we change the U into A. Becomes Wa actually because it was the verbs in U were actually in Pu. And then changed into Wa, we. The P became U. So Wa, we, U. That remains simply U. We, Wo. Only the Wa remained. Change the U into A and then add Seru again to make the causative form. So to make fight, to make fight in this case. Then we have Tsuyosa Omiru. Tsuyosa from Tsuyoi, strong, as we have already seen. Here, by dropping the I and adding Sa, we make the corresponding noun strength. Also, the accent moves again on the Tsuyosa. Object particle O, Miru. So, look at the strength. And then again, Yameru, stop. So, yeah, we chose to fight. I'll use again tackle here. Yeah, our speeds are pretty close to one another. Luckily, I hit there. I'll actually use my other potion here. Yeah, by doing it this way, at the very least, here I'll be able to defeat if my attack okay, connects, perfect. We have at least defeated the PG. Okay, and with that, actually, we get this. We got these. Yeah, the other screen was simply that we got those experience points. We increased our level, but all those things we have already seen before. This is new, on the other hand, because yeah, here it says Fushigi-dane wa. As for Fushigi-dane, Bulbasaur. Yadorigi no Tane o Oboeta. And yeah, this Yadorigi is a compound noun. Literally comes from Yadoru, which means to dwell in, to exist within, and so on. Usually actually more used for the meaning to stay at, to stop at, to lodge in. We change the U, verb colon verb, we change the U into I to make the conjugative form, and so the corresponding noun. On its own, Yadori, accented as usual on the last morph, as per the rule, means lodging, abode, shelter. Here used to make then the compound noun with gi. Actually, would be ki on its own. Tree, we've studied this kanji, accented on its own, becomes voiced because yeah, that's typical of the second term part of a compound, especially of strictly Japanese origin, like ki. So I literally would mean dwelling tree. It's actually the noun. By the way, the accent of Yadorigi is on the ri. Technically keeps the accent of Yadori. You could also see it as the accent being on the last mora of the first part of the compound. But yeah, literally dwelling tree. It's actually the name for mistletoe. But it's also used by extension for parasitic plant. And yeah, it's in this meaning that we use it here. After that we have the possessive particle no. Actually, we could say again the usual noun with the possessive particle, so used in practice like an adjective, more like parasitic in our case. And then we have tane. Again, this we have seen before, also because it's present in the name of Bulbasaur here, that Dane is the same, means seed, accented on the first mora. And yeah, several extended meanings, but yeah, fundamental one is seed, cioè parasitic seed. Currently forgetting the exact name in English. Yeah, it's similar. Yeah, it's that attack. Oops, moved it. Then it simply said object particle oboeta, cioè oboeru, to learn, technically to memorize, to learn by heart and so on. Yeah, then by extension simply as simple to learn, accented, and then root verbs and verbs, so we drop the ru and then ta to make that a form. Cioè Bulbasaur learned, has learned parasitic seed mentioned. Here we it's level increased also to 8 here. Nice. Yeah, but of course after that our rival also has Charmander. I have serious doubts we'll be able to win, although now that we've learned our attack here, maybe. Okay, I'll actually take this to show what this attack says. Yeah, here it says Aite no Hitokage ni, cioè the opponent Charmander. The particle ni to. Again, to as in applying to the opponent Charmander here. Tane, again, sits, plural, also based on the animation of the particle o. And then we have ue sketa. I wonder if I find it as is. But yeah, anyway, it comes from ueru. We check its accent, unaccented, okay. To plant. Other extended meanings, but the fundamental one is to plant. Root verb is some verb, so we can drop the ru to make the continuative form. In this case, to attach the second verb part of the compound, skeru. The usual one we've seen: to attach, to join, to connect, to apply, to add, and so on. So yeah, literally to plant and apply, or to apply by planting. And yeah, so actually with skeru, accented like tsukeru, to plant, to transplant, by extension also to instill. So yeah, figuratively plant an idea, feeling, and so on. But yeah, in our case, actually, also straight up literally, to apply the planting. So yeah, also you can see better why we use the particle ni there for the Charmander, the opponent Charmander. Yeah, let's actually go back. Yeah, with that, this I also save here. Yeah. It says, Yadorigi ga Aite no Hitokage no Tairyoku o Ubau. Yeah, we have again the Yadorigi, the parasitic plant. Subject particle ga Aite no Hitokage, again opponent Charmander. Possessive particle no Tairyoku. We've already seen this term. Literally body strength again, so actually then simply physical strength, but more specifically in our case here of Pokemon games, stamina, so yeah, as in the HP. Accent, Chinese compound accent on the first mora, this one. Object particle O, and then this verb ubau, which means to steal. More specifically would be to take by force. So, to steal as in actually to rob someone, technically, more specifically. To take by force, to take away, to snatch, and so on. It's worth mentioning that it's not as simple to steal because there's another verb in Japanese used for that. And no, this one is to take away, to rob, to snatch, and so on. Accented ubau. Oh yeah, let's actually go back to the game. I have some doubts, but... Okay, let's try it like this. I'll try to lower also its attack here. Of course, then I get hit by a critical hit, though. We had a chance if we didn't get hit by a critical there. With that, I doubt it. Okay, no, it actually worked. Okay, that missed. Also, let's not forget that I have the issue that my accuracy got accuracy rate, precise, got lowered. Yeah, I'll try to continue to lower its attack here. Oh yeah, we actually have a chance here. It all depends on not getting any more here. Okay, perfect. We lowered it. Here we have attack. Attack strength, literally, Koge Kiryoku, as a reminder. With that, I think it's better at this point to try to tackle. Yeah, honestly, it didn't lower particularly anyway. Yeah, it all depends here on this. Yeah, good thing we actually learned that move, otherwise we would have lost. Which on the one hand would have been nice to see what it says there, but at the same time, of course, I'd rather win. And yeah, we got 124 experience points. We received, Bob also received those, that experience. Too bad for our PG, but that didn't get experience here at all. But of course, actually wouldn't have apart from. But it was essential for this plan. But yeah, here it says again. You have won 2 literally at, we could say also, the match with rival Green, the usual structure. yeah, this is a new part. First we have another with the small tsu at the end again. Then it says Koitsu nameta mane o. Koitsu first. Again from the Kosodo series with Itsu. Then it becomes this fellow guy person. Familiar language, and actually also can be derogatory. In this case, it definitely is an accent, like usual Kosoa words. Then we have this Nameta from Nameru. Its fundamental meaning is to lick, accented. Other extended meanings, but yeah, the one that's here, used here, by extension, this licking. I'd rather not know exactly why it got this meaning, honestly. It gets the meaning to underestimate, to make light of, to look down on someone, to make a fool of, to treat with contempt, to disparage. Yeah, clearly in this meaning here, verb is some verb, we can drop the root to add the ta. Then we have a noun, so actually technically relative close, or at least, actually I suspect technically simply the attributive, the verb in a attributive form and position. But yeah, either way, then we have mane. Mane means unaccented mane. This one is a strictly Japanese compound, technically. Uses to kanji, but yeah, these are strictly Japanese words. More literally, the fundamental meaning would be imitating, copying, mimicry. By extension, it simply becomes behavior, action, conduct. So yeah, here is saying this fellow, as of course, implied, notice that, yeah, didn't mention after mane the object particle, so yeah, an implied verb, to do, or some kind of verb like that, is doing a behavior, so yeah, is behaving in a disparaging way, we could say. So yeah, so he's saying that we are looking down, we're disparaging him. Yeah, we should have already seen that we got this money as prize money. Oh yeah, first, okay, let's try to see what it says here. He says, Doyara, Pokémon Rigu ni wa tsuyokute sugoi toraena ga. First we have Doyara, again from Do, but then with this Yara. It means possibly, apparently, seemingly, likely, somehow or other. Yara, as we have seen, a particle, which means such things as A and B, or denotes uncertainty, and yeah, technically in our case, uncertainty. So technically, that's why we get somehow or other. The accent is still on the do. Pokémon League. Ni wa. Ni most likely in at, cioè with verbs of staying, be my guess. Wa the topic particle. Tsuyokute. So yeah, we actually, from tsuyoi again, we make the adverbial form, or we could say continuative form, and here we can see straight up why, because yeah, it's the one used to then attach the te and make the te form of the adjective. The accent again moves, still should move on the tsuyokute. So actually, on the fourth to last more, unlike the form of verbs, but yeah. Anyway, still should move like it usually does in adjectives. So yeah, from tsuyoi, there's a dictionary form, tsuyoku for the adverbial form on its own, and also this one with the te form. By the way, the u of the ku is barely heard if at all, because it's between our voice consonants. And yeah, the form of the adjective, so actually used to connect that to another adjective, so strong and sugoi, which we've already seen means both terrific and terrible, usually more often than not as in terrific, so also then we can translate it as amazing, great, and so on. Torena, strong and terrific trainers, such a particle ga. Then we have this uja iru rashize. This uja, yeah, you can easily guess that it's an onomatopoeia with such a sound. This one I haven't heard of before. It's accented on the first more as usual for onomatopoeias. It can be either in with the meanings in swarms, in clusters. By extension, I would say then also tediously, slowly. In our case, of course, in swarms, in clusters. After that, the verb iru is mentioned. So there are, literally they are, as in they exist technically, they stay. Then we have rashi, this auxiliary adjective, adjective, which means seeming, appearing, expresses a judgment based on evidence, reason, or trustworthy hearsay. Can also be used after a noun with the meaning ish, typical of, and so on. Last but not least, the final sentence particle ze. I can tell you, maternal language, familiar language, like force or emphasis, or straight up also with he, so threatening or ironic. More often than not the latter when it comes to our rival. But yeah, so he said that the Pokémon League, as far as the Pokémon League, it seems that there are strong and terrific trainers in swarms. Then he says Donika, Asoko o Tori Nukeru. Then continues Donika, it is again in some way or other. We have the additional ni, but other than that we added the usual ka, interrogative particle, which used when with pronouns, interrogative pronouns at the meaning some. And this one more specifically in some way or another or other. Asoko, that place, yeah, it's irregular compared to koko, soko, asoko for a, you simply have to remember an accent like the other one. So yeah, that place, so there, over there, more specifically, far from both, object particle, or torinukeru. Again, compound verb, actually from toru, already mentioned, to pass through. Then we have nukeru. We change the u into e for toru to make the continuative form, so that's the second verb. Nukeru, unaccented, has several meanings. In this case, is simply again to go through, to pass through, that verbs with that meaning. Tori nukeru, accented, so be careful, unlike nukeru on its own. To go through, to pass through, to get through, to cut across. And then we have ho, so actually everything up to that verb, to tori nukeru, is a relative clause. Referred and modifying ho. Ho means way, method, way, manner, process, and so on. Method, way, the fundamental meaning. Chinese compound should be unaccented, it is. Object particle. And then we have kanga and akya from kangaeru. To think, more specifically as in to ponder, and similar extended meaning to think about, to think over. Worth mentioning because more simple to think as another verb. Accented, kangaeru, either on the e or on the ga, depending on if you consider ae a diphthong or not. There are both variants. And then we drop the ru to make the negative form, to add then this nakya. We don't have the time for that. We've actually seen it before. It's the contraction of the form nakereba narimasen, nakereba ikemasen. So actually, literally, if if you don't, I or you don't do the action of the verb, it doesn't become a good thing. It can't go well. So yeah, actually used to make the must have to form of the verb. Then last but not least, the final sentence particle na. So yeah, in short, that's why. So yeah, he says one or I or you, technically both apply, have to think about a way to of, we have to adapt it, go over there, then he says, omae mo itsumade mo kokora ni inaide. Again, omae, you, mo the inclusive particle, also even. Itsumade mo, from itsu, again, when. And then we have this made, until, as mentioned, and then also the inclusive particle mo. Again, all that becomes technically forever. More literally, as long as one likes. I guess so. The usual inclusive particle for ever. Yeah, this one, like this. Yeah, we'll see it again. Let's not waste time since we don't have much. We are already went beyond our usual time here. Then we have Kokora. From Coco, here, this place. With this ra, technically, would be pluralizing suffix. Yeah, so we actually make, by the way, Kokora, actually accent on the ko. Koko on its own and accented, but yeah, with this ra, it becomes accented on the second ko. I guess might be because ra itself makes it's the accent of ra as a suffix. Let me quickly check that. No, can find it there. Let me quickly see. This is more important. Yeah, well, there are exceptions. Most seem to be always accented before ra itself. So yeah, that's why. So yeah, technically from the plural of this place here, we get the meaning around here, hereabouts. Ni, again, in at, because then we have in I, de. Yeah, technically, first we make the negative form in I, and then we add the form of the negative here with the de. We see that it's not the only the form of the adjectives, but here we have this one. The form required to say not in this case, because with the negative, do the action of the verb and the rest of the sentence, or by not doing the action of the verb. Say better the first one in this case. Then we have to 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 saki ni susume yo. This to 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 again, technically my guess would be technically from an onomatopoeia, even though it isn't mentioned technically as such. Definitely the to at the end is most certainly the quoting particle. So yeah, with to. Or maybe it's a repetition of all that. But yeah, anyway, this adverb means at once, right away, promptly, quickly, right now, this instant. Colloquial, and yeah, often with an imperative, like in our case, as we'll see in a second. Saki, we have already seen it before, an accented, means point, tip, end on its own. Its concrete meaning, and then by extension, front of something, ahead. And yeah, also both physically and temporally. With the particle ni, to, physically in this case, and then the verb susumu, to advance, to go forward, unaccented. Verb con verb, we change the u into e to make the imperative form, and then the yo at the end. The final sentence particle. So yeah. It says here, don't stay around here. Advance forward. Advance ahead. Right now. And yeah. Okay, with that, our rival leaves. We have defeated him. I'll actually save here. We'll check out what's to the left next time. And then we definitely have to go back to the city also to heal and then to continue. Let's close the game. And yes, so today we finished going around Viridian City. And then we went here in Route 22. Because of the rival battle. And incredibly, we actually won. Barely so, but we did it. And yeah, we saw what he had to say and everything. And yeah, so next time we should be on an expense change on Monday as usual. We'll continue from there, and yeah, we'll check what's to the left, go back to here, and then proceed. Of course, this Sunday there's also a stream mostly just for fun. In this case, should be again more Sonic Racing crosswords, because there should be the Captain Majima Festival. And I'll also mention here, I've already mentioned it on Patreon, and I repeat it also again in the next streams. On Wednesday, we'll actually start another Let's Learn Japanese with series to alternate it with Pokémon FireRed, because yeah, we played FireRed all the previous month, and yeah, to avoid doing that for another month, or should better, most likely actually months, yeah, we'll actually start also another Let's Learn Japanese with series and alternate the two. So yeah, FireRed on Monday and Friday, since we need more episodes of that to proceed, since it's pretty long. On Wednesday, the other Let's Learn Japanese with series will start with Super Mario Bros. 2, as in USA, in its Super Mario Advance version. Well, yeah, so see you on Sunday for more Sonic Racing crosswords for the festival in particular. On Monday for this, for FireRed. On Wednesday for the start of Super Mario Advance. And yeah, see you next time.